হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, করিনি, এখনো করছি।
And from their screen because link
দেখো
will
একটা
only
ইয়েতে,
phone.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
স্যার বলছি কি আমাদের এই এন্ড থেকে কেউ যদি আর শেয়ার করে সেই জন্যই
হ্যাঁ
আমি বললাম।
প্রেজেন্ট করো, হ্যাঁ কথা বলা আছে তো। কে কে করবে দেখো, সামওয়ান অফ
কেউ
ইউ।
পারবে যে ওয়াইফাই এর স্ক্রিনশটটা?
দেখো কার সুবিধা হয়। এনি ওয়ান অফ ইউ হু ফাইন্ডস ইট ইজিয়ার ক্যান শেয়ার হিজ স্ক্রিন। এনি ওয়ান, লাস্ট ডে কে করেছিল? Because unless
আগের
someone,
দিন আমান
স্যার
করেছে
আমি
কিন্তু আমার ল্যাপটপ।
আচ্ছা, মানে
ঠিক
unless
আছে।
someone shares his screen, nothing will be recorded in the video part, হ্যাঁ, অডিওটা শুধু রেকর্ড হবে। সো someone has to share, anyone, যার একটু নেটওয়ার্ক ভালো আছে একটু করো। আই ক্যান ডু দ্যাট, বাট মানে আই টক টু দ্য ইয়ে আর কি, মানে ইটস মানে application related problem, it's not a problem with my computer. So if I open all these things, it will be getting hanged, nothing else. So anyone having a good link can share, নাহলে আমাকে শেয়ার করতে হবে।
স্যার আমি করছি স্যার।
করো এনিওয়ান। আর দেখো জ্যামবোর্ডের লিংকটা, আই ফিল দ্য জ্যামবোর্ড লিংক, আচ্ছা 145 I will give you later, just remind me at the end. I have already closed that window. So let me know how many of you can access this Jamboard thing, or cannot access rather. Is anyone there?
So I cannot access.
কেন, তোমার কি প্রবলেম হচ্ছে? মানে what is the problem? You click on the link in the given in the comment box. See, in the comment box I have given one link. তুমি কিসে করছো? মানে you are doing it in laptop or you are doing in
Phone, sir.
by
Smartphone.
in a smartphone? না তো স্মার্টফোনে at least you have to download that
The
Jamboard thing.
Jamboard is already
করেছো?
downloaded, but when I click on the link, it's showing unable to open the Jam file.
So I don't know why. তুমি আরেকবার একটু uninstall করে install করো, কারণ সবার তো হচ্ছে, তোমারটা না হওয়ার তো কারণ নেই। আদারওয়াইজ আই ডোন্ট
কোনো
সি।
একটা টেকনিক্যাল গ্লিচ আসছে স্যার, ওই কারণে হচ্ছে না।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, সবার হচ্ছে। সো তুমি ওইটা আরেকবার ডাউনলোড করো, ঠিক আছে? একটু সেটিংসে গিয়ে কিছু একটা সমস্যা টমস্যা থাকতে পারে, সামথিং ইন স্টেট সেটিংস মাইট বি দেয়ার, আই থিঙ্ক, আই ফিল।
Okay, sir. I will do it after the class.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, কারণ সেটিংসে থাকলে অনেক সময় যদি প্রেজেন্ট নাও করতে দিতে পারে। সো ইউ ক্যান শেয়ার হোয়াট ইজ বিং শোন। So today on we will discussing some problems from the uh, book actually. So boiye dekho there are certain problems jeta ami ekটু just let me discuss just a very easy problem আর কি, মানে a very easy problem let me discuss so that you get to understand the things as we start the problems. So let's do problem sample problem number 4.2. So okay, so let me draw it. It's not in my note. So we are having a cross section like this. So you follow problem numbers. So this is sample problem number, your sample problem number 4.2. So it's given like a machine iron part is acted on by a moment of 3 kilonewton meter couple as shown. So the value of capital E is given, and neglecting the determine the maximum tensile and the compressive stresses that are acting on the casting and the radius of curvature of the casting. So as you can understand that for this sort of a problem,
Sir, can you tell the page number, sir?
page number 236,
In the
236.
PDF or in the book, sir?
Uh-huh.
In the PDF or in the book?
In the book is in the form of PDF. That's what I know আর কি। দাঁড়া, এটা আমার নোটে দিইনি, নাহলে আবার ইয়ে করতে হচ্ছে এদিক ওদিক। এক সেকেন্ড সময় দাও।
4.2
আচ্ছা ছেড়ে দাও, কাটিয়ে দাও, ওই প্রবলেমটা নিজেরা একটু ট্রাই করবে। আমি জাস্ট এই প্রবলেমটাই স্টার্ট করছি। আই এম স্টার্টিং উইথ দ্য প্রবলেমস গিভেন ইন দিস। আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, এটা কি তোমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছ? দেখো, গো টু প্রবলেম নাম্বার, পেজ নাম্বার 236। গো টু পেজ নাম্বার 236। হ্যালো,
স্যার 4.2 তো
হ্যাঁ, sample problem number 4.2. So you can see that there is a beam that is being acted on by a couple of m is equal to 3 kilonewton meter acting downwards. ঠিক আছে? So as you can understand that since the couple is acting downwards, ঠিক আছে? So you can understand that the top fibers will be in tension and the bottom fibers will be in compression. Correct? Hello?
yes sir.
So the top fibers will be in tension and the bottom fibers will be in compression. So the first thing is that we have discussed in the last classes is whatever is the cross section of the beam, that cross section we have to consider, and then we have to find out your I from that. So for your I cross section, I will be doing that. Just I am copying it from the book actually. So as you can see that for an I cross section, you have done the things like you have to divide I cross section into two parts actually. Into two rectangles. So for each rectangle, you have to determine its y bar, and then finally you have to calculate I of the total T section actually. And then, so once you calculate this value of I, and then you have to calculate the maximum tensile stress. So the maximum tensile stress will be calculated from the formula like m by I is equal to sigma by y. Okay? So let's start with this problem. I'm starting with the problem. So I hope you can understand the problem. So the dimensions are, just help me with the dimensions. So the wave is 90-20 and 40-30. So, so this one is 90 millimeter, right?
Yes sir.
So this
Yes,
one
sir.
is 90-20 and this one is 40. This one is 40 and this one bottom is, it is 30.
30 millimeter.
So this one is given to be 30 millimeter, right? So in order to do these sort of problems, I hope you have done these problems in the engineering mechanics actually, which you have studied in the last semester. So now, as I had said actually, so it is which, so the beam is something like this. So just consider the location of the beam. So this is the beam actually placed somewhere around this. So this is the beam, right? This is the beam and it is fixed somewhere. There is a wall, it is fixed. So this one, so the length of the beam always you have to take in the x direction. And so the length of the beam, so that is always the x direction. So this one, so this we are considering, this is actually the yz direction. So this z direction, so this will be the neutral axis of the beam. So if this is the z direction, so this will be the neutral axis of the beam. So this is y, this is z, right? Okay. Now we have to find out Iz actually. So in this case, see, they have written it as Ix, I suppose, but actually it should be Iz, because always you can understand that the cross section will always be the YZ direction. So I am doing it in the form of book actually, because you consider that this neutral axis is or they have taken it as Y actually. Okay, that is fine. So কিভাবে করব, can you suggest how to do this problem? How to find out the moment of inertia of such a cross section? So we have to do, what we have to do is we have to find out so we have to divide it into two rectangles. So this is, let me call it rectangle number 1 and let us call it rectangle number 2. So eta kiভাবে করি? So for the rectangle 1, so for the rectangle 1, so what will be the value of A1? So the value of A1 will be equal to what will be the value of A1? That is equal to 90 into 20. And what will be y1? So you have to consider one common base. So now you don't know anything. So let us consider that that this be the common base. Okay, let this be the common base. Let us call it as y, and let us call it as say x, and let us call this direction as the z direction. And this is the centroidal axis. So let's call it as y0. Okay, do you know about what is centroidal axis? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The axis passes through centroid.
So centroidal axis means, so an axis that passes through the centroid is known as the centroidal axis. So let y0, x0, y0 be the centroidal axis. So let G be the centroid of the beam. So let G be the centroid of the beam. So in order to find out G, so what will be Y1? So Y1 is this element. So it will be, so a length ta koto chilo? What was this one? This one was 40, I think, right? So Y1 will be 40 plus 20 by 2, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay. And what will be A2? So A2 will be equal to something like A2 koto hobe? So A2 is the area of the second rectangle. So that is 40 cross 30. So just calculate this one and you calculate the value of Y2. So what will be the value of Y2? So Y2 will be equal to, compared to the base, it will be 40 by 2. So what will be Y bar? So what will be Y bar? So Y bar will be equal to A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 divided by A1 plus A2. So just calculate what is the value you are getting. So initially you have to consider what is the cross section of the beam. So I hope you can understand that the cross section of the beam is the YZ plane actually. So on the YZ plane, so you just pass a cutting plane and then you are getting the cross section of the beam, which is T in this problem. Then you calculate what is Y bar for that cross section. So for this cross section, what is Y bar you will be getting? Koto asche eta calculate koro, or I can put the value because it's a solved problem, no need to waste time. So Y bar will come out to be 38 millimeter, I hope. ठीक है? So it's given. So Y bar, if you do put all the values here, so Y bar you will be getting as 38 millimeter. So this is first part of the problem where you have to calculate the value of Y bar or the distance of the centroid. So now what you are supposed to find out, what are the things that we are supposed to find out? So the first thing that I am supposed to find out is A is the maximum tensile and the compressive stresses in the casting. So this is the first thing that we are supposed to find out. एक second, 1 minute. Okay, so now we have got the values. So now this is the T section. So we don't need the other things now. So this is a T cross section of the beam. The neutral axis passes from somewhere around here, and so as you can understand that since it's being bent downward, the upper fibers will be in tension. So these fibers will be in tension, and the bottom fibers will be in compression. So the top fibers I am calling it as capital A, and the bottom fibers I am calling them as capital B. So what will be the value of sigma A? So in order to find sigma, what you have to do is you have to write down M by I. It is sorry though. Just M by I. What is the expression for pure bending that we had derived? So M by I is equal to sigma divided by Y. So if I need to find out what is the tension, what is the stress at the point A, so that will be M into YA divided by I. So what is the value of M? So the value of M is given to be, I think, 3. Or what is the value? Just check. What is the value given for M? It is 3 kilonewton, right? So M, put the value of M. So it is 3 into 10 cube into YA. So what is the value of YA? So you know this distance actually. So you just have to calculate this one. So this one is actually YA. So what is YA? So YA is the distance of the top fiber from the neutral axis, and YB is the distance of the bottom fiber from the neutral axis. So we have initially find out the neutral axis, which is the centroidal axis for any beam. So then you have to calculate this one. So what will be YA? So 8 or 38 eschilo. So YB came out to be 38. So what will be YA? YA will be total length minus 38. So total length is your koto ache. What is the total length? So the total length is, I think, 40 plus 20, it is 60. So 60 minus 38. So this will be 60 minus 38 YA. So let's put it 60 minus 38 divided by I. So what is the value of I? So you have to calculate the value of I actually. So I missed this one. So 8 jeta amra korchilam. So this one about this. So this one we calculated y bar. So now we have to calculate I for the total rectangular element. So in order to calculate that, what we have to do is we have to calculate the, so say suppose you have done these things. I hope. Naki na koroni. Hello?
স্যার করেছি
Hello?
বাট খুব বেশি নয়,
Very
এই
good.
পোর্শন গুলো খুব বেশি করা হয়নি স্যার।
Oh, খুব ভালো, very good. মানে make an honest confession. তো আমি ভাববো যে হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, মানে I can discuss all those things, not a problem. But make honest confession so that মানে আমার টাইমটা ওইভাবে ইয়ে না যায়। জানো আবার করাবো সেটা যেন না হয়, জানো না একটু কনফিউশন আছে, I can clear that always. So this is the first part that we did. So this is the centroidal axis. ঠিক আছে? So this is the centroidal axis. So let's call it as G. So individually two rectangles, they will be having their centroids at, say this is G1. Let us let this be rectangle 1 and let G2 be the centroid of the rectangle 2. So this is rectangle number 2. So let G2 be the centroid of the rectangle 2. So first we have to calculate. So suppose I am having a triangle. Suppose I am having a triangle like this. So what will be the centroid about its own CG? So IG1 will be equal to BD cube by 12. So what is the base? So base is I think 90 into 40 cube divided by 12. ঠিক আছে? So এইটা কার around এ? So about which this moment of inertia I am get 90 into 20 cube. Sorry, BD cube. So the depth of this upper part is 20. So 90 into 20 cube by 12, right? So this will be 90 into 20 cube by 12. So this one will be 90 into 20 cube divided by 12. So eta amra what we got is we got the moment of inertia of this rectangle. So this was one rectangle having length and breadth of 90 and 20. So the moment of inertia of this rectangle about its own CG I have got. But I don't want this one. I want IG. So what is the moment of inertia of this rectangle about the actual centroid or the centroid of the total I section, which is G. So if I need to find out what is the centroid, so if I now join this, so if I now extend it, so let me extend this one. So I have to find the moment about G. So which formula I have to apply? I have to apply the parallel axis theorem, because I can see that the axis passing through G and the axis passing through G1 are parallel to each other. So now if I say what is the contribution to the moment of inertia, so the total moment of inertia for the I section is coming from contribution of a upper rectangle and a lower rectangle. So what is the contribution of the upper rectangle? So the contribution of the upper rectangle about its own CG is IG1, and about, if I need to calculate what is this value about G, so that will be A1 into D1 square. So D1 is the distance between these two parallel axes. So what is the distance between these two parallel axes? So this distance is D1. So what will be D1? So D1 will be কত হবে? So if I need to calculate D1, so ধরো এইটা, so this one is D1 actually. So how to calculate this distance D1? So এই D1 টা আমরা কি করে পাবো বলো? ধরো এইটা যদি 38 হয়, এটা if it is 38 তাহলে এইটা টপ থেকে কত হচ্ছে, মানে টপ ডিসটেন্স ইজ, মানে বটমটা যদি 38 হয়, টপ টু এটা হবে হচ্ছে 60 minus 38 I feel
22 স্যার,
60 minus 38 কত হচ্ছে দেখো?
22 স্যার,
হ্যাঁ 22 I think, হ্যাঁ exactly. So it is 22. So D is actually D na. So this distance is 22. তাহলে D1 টা কত হবে? So D1 will be 22 minus এইটুকু. So this part is 10 by 20 by 2, that is, so this will be 20 minus 10 actually. Sorry, 22 minus 10. Sorry, 12 হবে. So D1 will be equal to 12. মানে it's coming from 22 minus 10 you have to do. এটা বোঝা গেছে? So how to calculate D1? মানে বোর্ডে খুব সুবিধা হয় এগুলো, এত মানে the nib of the pen is fluctuating so much that sometimes it gets difficult to write on these sort of things actually. Technology is very good, but sometimes technology is the main problem. So this one is d1. So how to calculate this d1? So d1 will be this 22 minus this distance. So this distance is 20 by 2 or 10. So this is 22. So whatever you will be the contribution of 1. So I1 that should be equal to this thing. So 90 into 20 cube divided by 12 plus A1. So what is the area? Area is 90 into 2. So A1 is the cross-sectional area of A. So that is 90 into 20 into D1 square. So D1 is 12. So you can calculate the value of I1. So this is the contribution of I1 about G. So I am writing it as IG1. So this is the moment of inertia of G about G for the element 1. Now let's calculate what is the contribution of the lower element. So let's draw the lower element. So the lower element is a inverted rectangle, something like this. So this one is the lower rectangle. So if I draw it, so G is something around here. So G is somewhere around here, and its own CG of the rectangle 2 is G2. So this is one axis, and this is the actual neutral axis. So for the element number 2, or I could have drawn it here also, but as you can understand that এটা খুবই short, space are very short. So what will be IG2? So if rectangle 2 was alone, what will be its moment of inertia? So that will be BD cube by 12, base into depth cube. So what is its base? So this base is, I think, কত আছে? This base is given to be 30.
So 30.
30 into 40 cube by 12. So BD cube. So this one is 30, this depth is 30, a base is 30, and this depth is 40. So BD cube. So 30 into 40 cube divided by 12. So this is the contribution from the element number 2 about G2. But I need the contribution about the point G. So I have to apply the parallel axis theorem. So in order to apply the parallel axis theorem, so let's write it something like this. So আমি যদি প্রথমটার মতোই লিখি, so IG2, so that will be equal to, let me clear some of the things. So IG2 that will be equal to IG, moment of inertia about G, contribution from 2. So that should be equal to IG2 plus A2 into D2 square. So IG2 you know, and what will be A2? So A2 will be, A2 you know, and D2 will be this one. So D2 is the distance between these two parallel axes. So what will be D2? So from the bottom it is totally 38. And this is 40 by 2, 20. So D2 will be equal to, so the D2 will be equal to your 38 minus, this is 40 by 2. That is 20. So 38 minus 20, this is 18 millimeters, right? So now you put the values, so you can calculate IG2. So you have got the value of IG1. So you have got the value of IG1, IG from, sorry, the moment of inertia about the element 1 you have got, and moment of inertia at the same point G due to the element number 2 you have got. Okay? So what will be the total moment of inertia? So this is actually IG2 plus A2 into D2 square. So just put the values that you have got. I forgot, it is like 30 into 40 cube by 12 plus 30 into 40 into D2 was what we calculated. কত এসেছিল? We got it as 18, right? এটা আবার ছোট হয়ে গেছে, ঠিক আছে? So this is 18 square. So from here you calculate the value of IG2. So once you get these two things, so the contribution from the element 1 and contribution from the element 2, so the final moment of inertia IG, so that should be equal to IG from element 1 and IG from element 2. So you add these things and you will be getting some answer in millimeter 4. Correct?
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but someone is trying to join and his network, he has a great network issue. So initially he couldn't join and now
Okay,
he's
okay, I'm trying it.
telling,
I'm trying.
okay, sir.
No, I'm trying to wait for him. Okay? He is trying to join and I'm trying to get him admitted. Okay. দেখাচ্ছে দাঁড়াও। Okay, so admitted. So হয়ে গেল. So now this part is done. So now once this part is done, so once you have got the value of I, let's return back to the thing that we were doing. So now since now I need to calculate sigma A, so I whatever value they have calculated, so whatever is the value of I, you put the value here. So once you put the value of here, you can value here, you will be getting the value of sigma A in something say megapascal or whatever is given. Now so this is for the top layer. Again, write the same equation for the bottom layer. So for the bottom layer, what I'm having, so the same equation m by I is equal to sigma by y. So for the bottom layer, it will be sigma b divided by yb. ঠিক আছে? So I should be having, so if I need to calculate sigma b, so sigma b will be equal to m into yb divided by I. So what is the value of m? So m is 3 into 10 cube into I, no, into YB, right? M into YB. So what is the YB? So this YB will be equal to koto hobe? YB will be equal to, I think, 38 itself. ঠিক আছে? YB is Y bar actually. Divided by I. Whatever is the value of I you got, you put it here. So from here, you can calculate the value of sigma B. So it should be something like negative something it will be coming. So in this way, you can calculate the values of sigma A and sigma B. So now let's start some problems from the exercises. So this is a solved problem. You can always have a look at the problem at your own. So let's start some problems based on the.
Sir, your voice is coming.
So now let's start some problems from the examples. ঠিক আছে? So let's start with the problem number 4.1. So you can understand, because 4.1 I generally do because it's a problem that they have shown 2 points. There are 2 points A and B. So as you can understand, whenever there are changes of points, actually there will be certain changes in the stress, because stress, you can understand, it's always it's sigma by y. M by I is constant. I is the cross section, it doesn't change, and M is the moment that you are externally applying. So that is constant, I is constant. So which one is actually changing? Y is changing. So as you are changing the Y value, as you are moving from the top layer to the bottom layer, or from the neutral to the top layer, the values actually changes. So if you go to the problem number 4.1 sample problem, you can see 237 page. You can see, I hope. 237 page, 237 page. The first problem 4.1 and 4.2 will be discussing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope since you have learned drawing, at least you can now appreciate the side view. But it is given in my note. ঠিক আছে? Side view I have drawn. See, it's sort of a aerometer. The cross section is something like this. So let's draw it like. So you follow my note also. I have done it in the note also. We have to calculate sigma A and sigma B. So let's start with the problem. So the problem is something like you are given a cross section. So regarding cross sections, you have already studied many things. So এই ধরনের যদি cross section থাকে, so suppose see I am having a cross section like this. So based on the cross sections that you will be coming across, you have to determine what is the symmetry of the cross section. Once you can determine the symmetry of the cross section, determination of the moment of inertia sometimes gets easier. ঠিক আছে? So for this sort of a cross section, actually you can understand that this is a cross section whereby you can divide it into three different rectangles actually. ঠিক আছে? if you divide it, let me say, like if you divide it into 3 rectangles like this, so you can divide it like in rectangles like this, or you can divide it in rectangle like this. Which one will you prefer? Just a thought from your side. Which one will you prefer? Both will give you the same answer, but which one will you prefer? So should I divide it? So এক minute, let me draw. A second, just give me 1 second. So I can divide it into 2 rectangles like this, or I can divide it into 3 rectangles like this. So which one you will prefer? A1 or B1? A or B? Let me know. Make it faster.
Using two rectangle is better, sir.
I know that, but any other reason? Not two rectangle, you are actually getting three. So in this case, you are getting 1, 2, 3. In this case also, you are getting 1, 2, 3. You are getting three rectangles, not two. Okay, so which one we will be preferring? Anyone else? So I think that always you should prefer this one. Why? Because when you do this one, so you are actually coming out with three rectangles that are having three axes which are non-parallel to each other. So actually you have to determine all the three moment of inertia differently, and then you have to apply parallel axis theorem and add, because you directly cannot add these three moment of inertia. But in this case, if you see that you are having three rectangles, but they are having the same axis actually. So this is one rectangle, it's joined to a bigger rectangle like this, and it's the third rectangle. So if you calculate their x-axis, let me call them x-axis now. So you can see that this axis, this axis, and this axis. So they are parallel to each other actually. They are coincident rather. So you can directly add the Ig values. So you can calculate I1, I2, I3 and directly add, because these are your collinear axis actually. These are same axis. But if you do this way, if you go by this method, you have to calculate three different moment of inertia, I1, I2, I3. But you cannot add I1, I2, I3, because I1 is about this axis, I2 is about this axis, and I3 is about this axis. You have to apply parallel axis theorem and then add. But if you divide the rectangle in this fashion, you can directly add the moment of inertia. Because if you calculate Ix, so this is Ix, so this is about its centroid G1, this is about the centroid G2, and this is about its own centroid G3. So directly you can add the values. You don't need to apply the parallel axis theorem if you divide the rectangles in this fashion. Am I clear? Why in my note actually, if you see note page number 47, you can see that I have divided them into three vertical rectangles, not horizontal ones. Because if you divide in three horizontal rectangles, you have to calculate the moment of inertia and then apply parallel axis theorem. You directly cannot add them. Am I clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
বোঝা গেছে? Okay, so as I had discussed, so let's divide this rectangle. So the structure that I am having, or rather the cross section that I am having, is something like this. So I am dividing it into a rectangle like this. Let's draw the axis first. So this is the y-axis, this is the z-axis. Achha. I am dividing it into rectangles like this. Dotted line portion. So I'm just joining them. Use dotted lines. I'm joining them as is, because this ink actually doesn't allow dotted lines. So let's divide it. So this structure we have divided it into three rectangles, 1, 2, and 3. And as you can understand that these three rectangles have the same axis actually, same z axis, so that the moment of inertia, once you calculate them, you can directly add them on. So let's calculate the values of I1, I2, and I3. So this is I1. So this one is the first rectangle. So let its centroid, let's call it as G1. So this is G2 and this is G3. And by symmetry, you can understand that this will lie at this point itself. So this will be the final G. I hope you can understand that this is a figure that is symmetric on both the x and the y axis. So the CG will lie at the point G itself. So let's calculate I1, I2, and I3. So what will be the value? So, but directly I can do it also. So IZ. So this is the I value actually, which is IZ. So I, we can calculate it as directly, we can add on I1, I2, and I3 in this configuration. So I1 is BD cube by 12. So this is B. So A length koto. What is this length? This is 2, and this depth is 1.5. See the figure. This depth is 1.5. This depth is given to be 1.5. So BD cube by 12. So 2 into depth is 1.5 whole cube divided by 12 plus I2. So this rectangle. So for this rectangle, what is this? So this one is again 2. This length is 2. And the total depth you calculate, this is 2 plus 2, 4 plus 1.5. So that is actually 5.5. So B into D cube. So 2 into 5.5 whole cube divided by 12 plus this rectangle. So this rectangle again, this BD cube by 12. So B is 2, depth is 1.5. So 2 into 1.5 whole cube divided by 12. So in this way, you calculate the moment of inertia of the figure first. So the moment of inertia, it will come out to be, so it's done in the note. You can just see what is there. So it is 28.85 inch 4. So this is how about calculating the moment of inertia. So just you have to take what is the shape of the cross section that you are encountering. Now you have to calculate. So different points are given, like, so you have been given different points. So now let's calculate at the different points. So the first point is the point A. As you can see that the point A lies on the top fiber of the figure. Okay, so it's the top fiber I have written. So initially you have to calculate YA. So what will be YA? Let's draw it. But I hope you can get that also. But so A is somewhere around here, I think, right? In the book. So what is YA? So, and your neutral axis is this one. So this one is your neutral axis. So you have to calculate YA. So what is the value of YA? So YA will be equal to, YA will be equal to, YA will be equal to 2 plus 1.5 by 2. Am I right? That is 2 plus 0.75, which is 2.75 millimeter. Am I correct? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now next thing that you consider is, so now forget this one. So next thing that I'm doing is, so you are having a, see the structure. I can hope then you can understand the side view. Just go to my note. Actually, you can see that why the side view is that short. Actually, you are having 3 lines. Why are you having 3 lines? Because you see that this, you see it from the side actually. So you will be seeing this one, this edge, and this edge. So on the side view, you can see that the beam is something like this. So the beam has been drawn in the problem. So you can see that the beam is something like this with 2 lines here, 1 line here and 1 line here. So these lines are actually corresponding to these edges actually, this edge, this edge. Okay. So how about calculating the sign of the moment of inertia, sign of the moment that's being applied? So as per our discussions, I hope you can remember that which one was the positive moment and which one was a negative moment. So the moment is acting like this. So the top fibers will be in compression and the bottom fibers will be in tension. Or you can think like that it's a case where you are having the moment of inertia to be positive. The thing we discussed in the first class, that it is actually convex downwards. So whenever it's convex downwards, we take it as a positive bending moment or a sagging moment. So sagging moment means top compression, bottom tension, right? So our moment is actually positive. So I can apply our derivations actually. So best thing is you put the moment sign like this. So that is, so then you are not mistaken at any point. So what was our formula? So our formula was m by I is equal to sigma by y. So sigma A divided by YA. So what is YA? So sigma A divided by YA. So actually when we derived it, if you note in our, if you see in our notes, it was actually negative. In our notes, we have taken this sagging moment as positive and the expression came as negative. Just check the notes that we had discussed the last class. So this sign is negative actually. So on the top side, so sigma is on the top side. So this sigma A will be coming out to be negative by itself if the moment is positive. So sigma A, so this sigma A will be equal to m into YA divided by capital I.
Yes, sir.
Acha. So it a negative of it. This one will be negative. So what are the values? M is given, I think. So M is given to be 25. So you put all the values. So you put all the values. So M is given to be something like 25 into YA we have calculated to be 2.75 divided by the value of I we have calculated C. So it has come to be something like 28.85. So from here you can get the value of sigma A. So the value of sigma A, so the value of sigma A, it will be something like minus 2.38 KSI. So since A is on the top side, it is under compression. ঠিক আছে? So either you can take the expressions actually, expressions we derived. So now let's consider the point B actually. So B is also on the top side, I feel. So now we consider the point B. Where does B lie? So B lies at, let me see. So B lies at this point. Okay. So B is a point lying somewhere here. So B is a point lying somewhere here. Right? So what will be YB? So YB will be this one. So this distance is 1.5. So YB will be equal to 1.5 by 2, which is 0.75. And again, the point B is on this C, it is above the neutral axis. So it will be having compression. ঠিক আছে? So for the point B, M by I is equal to minus sigma B by your YB. So what will be sigma B? So sigma B will be equal to minus M into YB divided by I. So just you put the values. So sigma B will be equal to whatever are the values that are given. So minus of 25 into 0.75 divided by I. So I is something like 28.85. So it is minus of 0.65 KSI. So this value will come out. So see, I have written like, this is about also discussing the negative sign actually. So since A and B points, they are above the neutral axis, you are actually getting the values of the compressive forces to be negative. Suppose we were given a point, we will be discussing more problems on those. So suppose I had one point, say at this point. Suppose you are supposed to find out the stress at this point. So you can see that this is below the neutral axis. So since it is below the neutral axis, it will be always under tension. So when you for C, so for a point C, so for a point C, what will be YC? So neutral axis. So this since C is below the neutral axis, so YC will come out to be negative. So what will be the value of YC? YC will be minus 2.75. So it's just the opposite of A actually. So YC will be equal to minus 2.75. So you write the pure bending equation. So M by Y is equal to sigma C divided by YC. So now if you calculate minus, ঠিক আছে? So sigma C will be equal to M into YC divided by minus of M into YC divided by I. Now you put the values. So see, it will be coming out to be negative because M was your 25 minus into YC is your again negative. So this negative and this negative will become positive divided by I. So I was your 28.85. So something like, so whatever you get, that should be a positive KSI. So since this point C, this is above the neutral axis, this is below the neutral axis. So this will be, the stress at the point C will be negative. ঠিক আছে? But this is a contrast actually. মানে contrast মানে ধরো এই যে প্রবলেমটা, the problem we discussed, এই প্রবলেমটা দেখো, এই প্রবলেমে কিন্তু the moment itself was negative. So if you are confused with these things, so if you go to the sample problem that we discussed, you see that the moment was actually negative because in the moment actually you see that the top is tension, bottom is compression. So it is M was a negative moment actually. It's a hogging moment. When a convex is on the upside, so it was a hogging moment. So M has to be taken as negative. If you are using the formula, or best thing, if you tend to forget everything, that's very good. What you do is, or if you are unable to understand these concepts actually, how to make it negative, how to make it positive, just see what is the side of how the moment is being applied. So the two problems that we had discussed, let's see. So either you go by the formula, you'll be getting positive negative directly from the formula itself, or best thing is the sample problem that we discussed. So if you go back to the problem in your book and see, the beam was something like this. It was a T section that we discussed, and the T section was bent by a moment on this side actually. So I hope you can understand that since I am bending this one, so top side will be on tension. So this top fibers will be on tension and the bottom fibers will be on compression, right? So whatever you are calculating, so any point A on the top side, so just you say that since A is on the top side, the compression at A will be positive, the tension at A will be positive, and for any point B lying below the neutral axis, so any point B, that the sign will be negative. ঠিক আছে? And for the next problem that we discussed, যেটা আমরা এখনই করলাম, star shaped thing যেটা, or let me just draw the side view. The side view was this. So we applied a moment like this. So this is the second problem that we discussed today. So as you can understand that in this case, since moment is upward, so upside will be compression and bottom side will be tensile. So just when you calculate, so if there is a point sigma A here, so sigma A will be always negative because it is on the compression side, and there is a point C below the neutral axis. So sigma C will always be positive because it is tensile. So either what you do is you apply mod on this formulae actually. On this formulae, you do it as a mod. Don't apply signs while you are calculating. Just see which the point lies where. Either it lies on the top or the bottom and how the moment is being applied. Based on that, you can put it positive and negative. Or you can do it in the formula. Just put the formula as is. Either put the sign of the moment and the sign of YC. So based on the sign of moment and the sign of YC, the values will change. বোঝা গেছে?
Yes,
So
sir.
see, I have written a note for the first problem that since both the points A and B are above the neutral axis, both the points A and B will have compressive stresses. ঠিক আছে? মানে above the neutral axis as well as the bending moment is positive. মানে bending moment যদি উল্টো হয়ে যেত, has the bending moment been on the other side? মানে ধরো same problem that we discussed now. So suppose the same problem. So suppose this is the same problem we discussed. Only the moment is, suppose in this case the moment has been applied on the top side, let the moment be like this. So just the things get reversed. How? That on the top side now you are having tension, you can understand that this side will expand, these things will try to expand, and bottom side will try to sag. ঠিক আছে? And the bottom side will be in compression. So any point that is, so now any point A on the above the neutral axis, that will be positive stress, and any point B that is below the neutral axis will now be carrying a negative stress. So just you have to, looking at the figure, you have to determine which one is tension, which one is compression, which is what I do because I don't remember, I don't people, I always don't carry on the formulas actually. So best is you look at the figure. This is the figure, you look at from the side view, see where the moment is acting and what is the location of the point. So in this case, you can see that the moment is downward. So you can see that the top fibers will be in tension. So any point on the top fiber or above the neutral axis, you put the value as, you calculate the value as is just using formula, and just since it is on the tension side, put it as positive, and anything at the bottom, since it is on the compression side, put it as negative. ঠিক আছে? So this is about calculating bending stresses and their signs. So whenever you are calculating stresses, you have to remember also its sign. What is the sign? ঠিক আছে? So আর কি প্রবলেম করব? It's already 5:30. নাকি কালকে করবে? দেখো।
স্যার কালকে তো আমাদের একটা ক্লাস আছে, আর এরপর অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমাদের একটা ইলেকট্রিক্যাল মেশিনস এর আর কি ক্লাস দিয়েছে মানে হট
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, কটা থেকে?
স্যার ওটা মনে হয়, না স্যার টাইম আছে, আমি টাইমটা মনে হয় একটু পিছনেই আছে, 6টা না 6:30 বলেছিল সম্ভবত, টাইম
না
আছে।
না, আমি তাহলে কি করবো বলো, মানে আমি কি ডিসকানেক্ট করে দেবো না আরেকটা প্রবলেম করাবো ছোট?
স্যার আরেকটা করিয়ে দিন, আরেকটা প্রবলেম করিয়ে দিন না।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে। তো বড় প্রবলেম বিশেষ করানো যাবে না, I won't be able to do a bigger problem like at this point.
স্যার আপনি যদি কিছু না করেন তাহলে স্যার একটা ডাউট আছে, মানে ওই
বলো 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 বলো, ডাউটস গুলো বলো একটু।
বিয়ার জনসন বইটা এখন কি আছে কাছে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, বিয়ার জনসন বই আছে, বলো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওখানটা দেন, আপনাকে ওই প্রবলেম নাম্বারটা বলছি, ওটা স্যার ফার্স্ট চ্যাপ্টার, একটা মিনিট, নেট সেকেন্ড চ্যাপ্টার ওটা। স্যার ওই প্রবলেম নাম্বার এটা
আচ্ছা তুমি একটু প্রেজেন্ট করো। আচ্ছা প্রেজেন্ট একদিন করছে না।
হ্যাঁ স্যার ওই বিয়ার জনসনের চ্যাপ্টার 2 প্রবলেম নাম্বার 2.31।
হ্যাঁ, পেজ নাম্বার কত?
স্যার পেজ নাম্বার 77 বই।
আচ্ছা দেখছি যায় কিনা। এডিশন 6 তো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার এডিশন 6 যেটা
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার ওখানে প্রবলেম 2.31 স্যার।
2.31, হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার ওখানে যে প্রবলেমটা আছে ওই মানে ওই টাইপটা স্যার বুঝতে পারছি না যে ওটা কি বলতে চাইছে। The volume of a tensile specimen is essentially constant while the plastic deformation occurs.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। এটা বেসিক্যালি কিছুই না, এখানে জাস্ট বলেছে ধরো একটা there is a tensile specimen. So have you seen like a tensile test or not? মানে tensile test কি দেখেছো?
No, sir. Actually, sir, I didn't know what is meant by tensile specimen.
এই রে, আচ্ছা, ভেরি গুড।
So, is it a machinery component?
না না, বলে দিচ্ছি আমি, তুমি যা কোশ্চেন করবে আমি বলে দিচ্ছি, দাঁড়াও। আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, সো আমি এই পার্টটা করছি। কারো যদি মনে হয় লগ অফ করতে চাও লগ অফ করে যেতে পারো। আই এম জাস্ট ডিসকাসিং সামথিং মানে যেটা রিলেটেড টু দিস প্রবলেম। কারো যদি ইফ সামওয়ান ফিলস দে ক্যান লগ অফ। আজকে আর কোনো প্রবলেম করাচ্ছি না, জাস্ট দ্যাট দিস প্রবলেম হি হ্যাজ আস্কড, আই উইল বি ডুইং দিস ওয়ান। এটা একটু টাইম লাগবে। সো রিগার্ডিং টেনসাইল টেস্ট, সো regarding tensile test, what happens is the tensile tester, there is a UTM machine in our laboratory where we do all the tensile testing and all. So tensile testing এর জন্য যেটা করা হয় actually, so we are having a round specimen like this. So we take a somewhat a round specimen like this, এরকম ধরনের একটা round specimen নেওয়া হয়, and then this specimen what we do is we apply it to tensile loads on both the sides. So suppose you are applying it to a tensile load on the both the sides. So depending on the material that we are having, so suppose we can be having two types of materials, you know. So first one is a ductile material and
And the other is brittle.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা বাকিরা লগ অফ করে যেতে পারো, ঠিক আছে? কেউ যদি এটা থাকতে চাও থাকো, বাকিরা লগ অফ করে যেতে পারো, আমি কালকে আবার শুরু করব। So first sort of a material is a ductile material, and the second sort of material is a brittle material. So what is a ductile material? So ductile material is something that can undergo a certain amount of plastic deformation, and brittle is they won't go into the plastic range, like glass. So if I expand glass, it will try to expand elastically. Once the elastic limit is completed, it will break. So glass doesn't have any any plastic zone. But for a ductile material like mild steel, so generally tensile test is carried on a ductile material, which is the mild steel specimen. So we are having a mild steel or the MS specimen. So when we apply this MS specimen to a কি বলবো tensile loading, so it tries to deform like this. So deformation actually, so there is a phenomenon called laking. It doesn't break at one go. What happens is it tries to, it actually, there is a reduction in the cross section, and this reduction in the cross section is finally accumulated, and the specimen finally ruptures in a cup and cone sort of fracture like this. ঠিক আছে? So এই যে cup and cone fracture টা, it's given in the book. So if you study chapter number 2 actually, so you'll be seeing that they have already given all the descriptions of these things and all. So এইখানে in this problem, coming back to the problem actually, so in this problem they have asked you to find out what is the true strain. So regarding calculation of the true strain, so suppose let the change in length be dl, and suppose I am having a tensile specimen, I am applying it to a tensile loading. So this is a tensile specimen. On this I am applying a tensile loading, say P on this side and capital P on this side. So what happens is the specimen will try to there will be, it will first start to expand elastically. A time will come when there will be a reduction in the cross section occurring in the specimen, like you have seen a rubber band. So how does a rubber band, when you pull it on both the sides, how does it expand, and then it fractures actually, or it breaks down? So actually there is a necking phenomenon, that first there is a reduction in the cross section or reduction in the diameter of the specimen. So let the initial diameter of the specimen, I am taking it as d0, and let at any instant, so this diameter goes on decreasing. So let at any instant, let the diameter be small d. ঠিক আছে? Acha. So suppose I am elongating the specimen. So initially the length of the specimen was L0. So let the initial length of the specimen was L0, and now I am elongating the specimen so that its length becomes L0 plus delta L. So after elongation, let the length of the specimen becomes L0 plus DL. So DL is the change in length. So if I need to calculate what is the strain being developed in the element, so d epsilon, that should be given by, so this d epsilon will be equal to DL is the original length divided by the change in length is L. So now if I want to calculate the strain, so in order to calculate the strain, I have to integrate it. So in order to calculate the strain, which is the true strain, I have to integrate dl divided by l. So what I should be having? So I should be having ln. So ln l actually. So l varies from what? L varies from l to ln varies from, initially it was L0, and then let the final length be capital L or LT, whatever you say. So that is L by L0. So this is the expression for strain, but they have asked it to be presented in the form of diameter. So see, though specimen is actually changing its length and all, the volume of the element doesn't change. Volume to change হচ্ছে না. Volume is something that takes into account both length and diameters and all. So the volume of the specimen does not change. So if I make the volume as constant, so initially the volume was something like pi by 4 d. Initially it was say কি বলবো মানে let the initial, আচ্ছা ওরা কি নিচে, let me see, they have taken d1 টা হচ্ছে, so that when the diameter is small d, so the initial diameter is d1, ঠিক আছে? So the initial diameter of the specimen is d1. So initial diameter of the specimen is d1. আচ্ছা, আর initial length টা কত ছিল? Initial length was l0, I think. L0. Acha, and what is the final volume? So the final volume is, let the final length be d. So pi by 4 d1 square l, and that is pi by 4 d square into, let the final length be l. So pi by 4 cancels out. So what is l by l0? So l by l0 is actually d1 by d square. So now if I write an expression for this strain, so আমি যদি এবার strain এর expression টা লিখি, so epsilon t, so it was something like কত এসেছিল? So let me again calculate dl by l. So it was L0 to L. So that was ln L by L0. Or এইখান থেকে what was the thing I derived? I got like d1 square L0. d1 square L0. Now d1 square L0, that is equal to d square L. তাহলে এখান থেকে আমি যদি L by L0 করতে যাই, so that will be equal to d1 by small d. So if I put it here, so that should be equal to d1 by small d whole square. তাহলে এটা দেখো ln এর বাইরে চলে আসবে, so it should be 2 ln d1 by small d. So this is calculating the strain that is being developed in a tensile specimen. ঠিক আছে?
Yes, sir.
So this is what they have calculated. So related to the tensile specimen, true strength আমরা calculate করলাম. So related to the tensile specimen, the thing is like we have a if we tensile specimen is generally it's a mild steel specimen. So mild steel, since it's a ductile material, it will be undergoing a cup and cone sort of fracture. So initially there will be a necking phenomena. Necking হয়ে it fractures as if like a cup and a cone. ঠিক আছে? So এটা তোমরা যদি একটু পড়ো, if you want to study that one, I don't know, এই পার্টটা হয়তো সিলেবাসে সেইভাবে মেনশন করা নেই, বাট জেনারেলি যেহেতু আমরা প্রবলেমসে বেশি যাই, তো সেই জন্য আমি ওই পার্টটাকে খুব একটা ডিসকাস করিনি, ঠিক আছে? So
So I am not able to hear your voice, sir. Please speak loudly, sir.
এবার শুনতে পাচ্ছো?
Yes, sir.
কি আগের গুলো শুনতে পাওনি?
না এই একটু আগে যেটা বলছিলাম ওইটা একটু শুনতে পাইনি।
আচ্ছা, সো আমরা যেটা করি, সো যেটা আমি বললাম, তাহলে একটা ইউটিএম মেশিন থাকে যেটা আমরা পরে আমরা ল্যাবে করব, ইউনিভার্সাল টেস্টিং মেশিন বলা হয়. সো অন এ ইউটিএম অর ইউনিভার্সাল টেস্টিং মেশিন, দ্য টেনসাইল টেস্ট ইজ ক্যারিড আউট. ইন আ টেনসাইল টেস্ট, what we generally have is we have a mild steel specimen which is in the form of a bar. এইটাকে আমরা we expand it on both sides. এটাকে আমরা expand করলে there is a necking phenomenon. So there is initially a reduction in the cross sectional area, and this reduction actually adds up as you go on increasing the load or keep on applying the load. A time will come when the specimen will fracture and take the shape something like this. এগুলো আমি আরেকটু ডিসকাস করব in our later parts actually. ঠিক আছে? So this is known as the necking. So this is known as necking, and this is known as your cup and cone fracture. So this is your cup and cone fracture. আচ্ছা, এইবার এখান থেকে now if I keep on plotting the force and the displacements, so আমরা যদি force displacement diagramটাকে plot করি, or সেখান থেকে if we draw the stress strain diagram, we get something like this. So what we get is we get a, so initially, so this is the stress. I am plotting the stress on this side and the strain on this side. So say F versus delta. So I am plotting the force versus the displacement. So the curve looks something like this. So initially it goes like this, then there is a kink, and then the shape like this. So either I can make it force by the area of the cross section. In that way I will be getting the stress, and if I make delta by L, I will be getting the strain. So this is also called the stress strain diagram of a mild steel specimen, which is achieved using the tensile testing. So each points gulo ache. So there are different points. So this point, the first point A. So this point is known as the elastic limit. This point is known as the proportional limit. Then we have a point B, which is known as the elastic limit. Then we have a point C, which is known as the upper yield point. Then we have a point D, which is known as the lower yield point. Then we have a point E, which is the maximum breaking stress. This is known as the breaking stress, and this is the ultimate stress. So E is the ultimate stress, and F is the breaking stress. So initially when the specimen, so up to the point A, or rather up to the point B, this is up to the elastic limit. So this portion, up to this portion, actually the material is within the elastic limit. What do I mean that it is within the elastic limit? So if I go on increasing the load, so the displacement is proportional. So that stress is proportional to strain. So stress is proportional to strain. So stress is actually proportional to strain. And if I find out the proportionality, so what is stress by strain? So this stress by strain is known as the E, which is actually defined as the Young's modulus, or the modulus of Young's modulus. So the ratio of stress by strain within the elastic limit gives us the Young's modulus. So now I am going on increasing the load. Suppose a rubber band, you are increasing the load. A point will come, you just remove the load. So if I come to this point, I remove the load. The material again return back to its original position following the initial path, and so that there are no permanent set up in the material. Permanent set means there are no permanent displacements or any plastic deformation being set on the specimen. Suppose a rubber band is there, I deform it up to a certain length. There is no necking, it is within the plastic zone. Then I remove the rubber band, it comes back to its original position. There is no displacement, there is no strain. I cannot detect whether it was at all it was stressed or not. Then so this up to point A, it is within the elastic limit. So limit. So once you cross this point A, you reach a point. So up to point A, it is called the proportionality limit. So proportionality limits means stress is proportional to strain. Then from A to B, actually the proportionality is lost. The curve droops actually. So in this case, you can see that it's a 45-degree line actually. So as you go on increasing the stress, the strain actually goes on increasing. So there is a 45-degree line actually, it goes on increasing. But just after the point A, actually the material is not at all proportional. Stress is not at all proportional to strain, but still the material is within the elastic limit. Up to the point B, the material is within the elastic limit. So that is why the Young's modulus is always defined up to the elastic limit actually. Up to the elastic limit, though stress is not proportional to strain actually, but still the material is elastic. So if you remove the material at the point B, the material will again follow the same path and come back to its original position. Within itself, suppose there is an arbitrary point, say A prime. So I load it up to this point. Let's say A, I am loading it. Then I remove the load. It will return back to its original position. Once it overshoots the point C, once it goes above this point C, so this is the start of the plastic zone. So you go to the point C, you release the load. The material will never return back to its original position. You release the load, it will return back. It will return back. So the curve will be something like this. So this amount of plastic strain or plastic deformation will be set up in the material. So this is delta plastic. So this amount of plastic deformation will be remaining inside the material. So the first one is the upper yield point. So at this upper yield point, actually the necking of the specimen begins actually. So whenever we are at the yield point, the necking of the specimen begins actually. A necking means, what is neck? If we consider our body, what is neck? Neck is a position where we are having a reduction in cross section. From head to neck, you see that there is a reduction in the cross section. So what is necking? So necking is somewhere where there is a reduction in the diameter of the specimen. So the specimen was something like this. So you keep on loading the specimen, there is a reduction in the diameter of the specimen. The specimen starts to neck like this. So this is the necking phenomena. There is a reduction in diameter. You go on increasing the load, this necking will increase, and a time will come when this will separate into two different parts. So this is the upper yield point C. This is and then as you go on increasing the load, there is certain plastic rebound actually. So material actually gains some amount of, there is a plastic recovery in the specimen actually. So that is why it gains some amount of strength. So this is the point D actually. This is known as the lower yield point. Now you go on increasing the load. See, you are not increasing the load too much, but the strain is increasing. As this happens in a rubber band. So after a certain limit, you don't have to apply the load. The material starts to deform by itself, as if it has moved to the liquid phase, solid. a solid cannot have a very much amount of deformation unless you apply a huge load. But whenever you are entering the plastic zone, you see the load applied is very small. The load applied is very small, but the amount of deformation is very large. So since it has entered the plastic zone actually, so even without the application of application of a very small load results in a high amount of deformation in the specimen. So this is the maximum limit, the maximum recovery that the specimen can undergo. So this is known as your ultimate stress actually. So this is the maximum stress that the element can bear. And after that, the material actually starts to droop, and this final actually at the final point F. So at F actually the material, this is known as the breaking stress. So this is at this point the material ruptures and there is a cup and cone fracture and the material becomes two different parts. বোঝা গেল? বোঝা গেল? So this
Yes,
is
sir.
something about tensile testing. So tensile testing টা বইতে আছে, আমি maybe if I get time I will also go back to this part and make you, so এইখানে দুটো জিনিস just বোঝার যে up to the elastic limit. So Hooke's law is defined up to the elastic limit. So the things to understand, number one is Hooke's law. So Hooke's law is up to the elastic limit, stress is proportional to strain. So up to the elastic limit, stress is proportional to strain. And if I calculate stress divided by strain, so I will be getting the Young's modulus capital E. So this is the definition for Young's modulus. So Young's modulus is always defined up to the elastic limit. So you have to take always the slope of the curve up to the elastic limit. So sigma by epsilon. So this is actually the slope of the curve. So slope of the curve within the elastic limit. Slope within the up to the elastic limit. Slope up to the elastic limit, that gives us the Young's modulus of the specimen. Number one. Number two is, see, whenever the specimen is actually getting deformed, so I have drawn something like this. The curve has been drawn something like this, but I hope you can understand that there cannot be so as the specimen is necking, the cross-sectional area is decreasing. So as the cross-section is decreasing, so how I am calculating stress? Stress I am calculating using force by area. So as area is increasing, the curve actually cannot droop. It actually gets something like this. So curve it is always a rising curve. It cannot be a drooping curve. Since the area is actually decreasing. So in this case actually, so this is known as the engineering stress strain diagram. So stress strain diagram can be of two types. One is the engineering stress strain diagram, and this one is known as the true stress strain diagram. So in case of true stress strain diagram, actually we take the instantaneous area. Instantaneous area means whatever is the change in area or whatever is the at that instant. So as you can understand that every instant as you are keeping on loading, so the cross section is decreasing. As the cross section is decreasing, so for the true stress strain diagram, so whenever you are calculating sigma true, so that is actually what? Force by area, force by instantaneous area. So as you can understand, always when it is necking, whenever the material is in the plastic zone, its area goes on decreasing until fracture. So as the area decreases, stress will increase infinitely. But at the point of fracture, the stress is actually infinite. Okay? So in the true stress strain diagram, always the curve is a rising curve. But generally, we don't take the true stress strain diagram. We always take the diagram like this. So the diagram that we refer to for our purpose is the engineering stress strain diagram. So for engineering stress strain diagram, I am referring it to as sigma E. We always calculate F divided by the original cross-sectional area. So this is actually constant. Since this is constant and F is actually decreasing, so this stress curve actually droops. It comes down actually. So these things are given in the book of Timoshenko as well as this book. You study these things. So I'm writing the topics just for a likhe now. Tensile test, number one. Number two is stress strain diagram. Number three is all those points like elastic limit, proportional limit, elastic limit, upper yield point, lower yield point, breaking stress and all. Number four is Hooke's law. Number five is your engineering stress strain diagram and true stress strain diagram. I will also take one class on this. So this was just a short introduction on this one. Understood? And also I have done the problem for you. I hope it's now easier to understand. ঠিক আছে?
Yes, sir.
So আজকে তাহলে এটুকুই থাক, কালকে তাহলে আমরা আবার এটা কন্টিনিউ করব, ঠিক আছে?
Yes, sir.
So আমি ডিসকানেক্ট করছি।
ওকে স্যার।
ওকে, আচ্ছা কে রোল নাম্বারটা বললে লাস্টে? লাস্ট রোল নাম্বার ইজ আই থিংক 026, রাইট? 145 and 026.
Sir, 102
দিয়েছেন?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
স্যার 102 প্রেজেন্ট দিয়েছেন।
আচ্ছা আমি লিখে নিচ্ছি আমার মনে নেই 102 145 and what else 145 আরেকটা কি বললে
026 স্যার 026
026 আমি তিনটে রোল নাম্বার দেখে নেবো আই উইল চেক 145 102 and 026 সো আই এম ডিসকানেক্টেড
Yes, sir.
ঠিক আছে ওকে থ্যাংক ইউ
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
থ্যাংক ইউ